Thank you, Holy Father, again for your generosity and for your time and giving us this interview. So the first question, just to get started, is about you, of course. So you are two things at once. You are the first Pope from the United States, but you're also the second Pope with the perspective, if you will, of Latin America. Which of those do you feel more, do you identify with more? Do you feel more American? Do you feel more Latin American?
I think the answer is both and. One of the things that has come out in a number of articles that have been published is journalists and others try to decipher, interpret, or make up what they think I am. But there's an element of truth in statements that are being made about the world experience that I've had, and even the studies that I've done, and the family tree, the genealogy, and finding. I knew some of what's been published, but a lot has been discovered that I wasn't aware of. And there seems to be something someone said to me recently between the family background of all the different nationalities, including my brother's just got a book that was published in France talking about the African roots, which there apparently are, and French and Italian and Spanish and Cuban and Haitian, Peruvian, because of the Spanish connection. All of that together has, along with my experience, especially as prior general and getting to know the church around the world, has given me, I think, a real appreciation for the wonderful wealth of traditions and cultures and languages that make up the world and, of course, the church. So I'm obviously an American, and I very much feel that I'm an American, but I also love very much Peru, the Peruvian people, and so that is a part of who I am. Half of my ministerial life was spent in Peru, so the Latin American perspective is very valuable to me, and I think comes out also in an appreciation that I have for the life of the church from Latin America, which I believe was significant in both my connection with Pope Francis, my understanding of some of the vision that Pope Francis had for the church, and how in some ways at least we can continue to carry that on from what Francis was promoting. That word's not promote, but Francis was offering to the church in terms of a vision, a true prophetic vision for the church today and tomorrow.
Okay. Now this is John's question that I promised him I would ask, because he said this is more telling than anything else. Scenario: the United States is playing Peru in the World Cup. Who do you cheer for?
Good question. Probably Peru, and just because of affective bonds, if you will. There was a case some years ago, and because I'm also a big fan of Italy. In World Cup level, I would follow 3 teams generally. You mentioned 2, and Italy would be the 3rd one. So
if they qualify.
Yes, that's a big if. Also in Peru's case, of course. There hasn't been an issue recently. So I followed the World Cup. Even when, people know I'm a White Sox fan, and I sort of said, well, Robert Prevost was a White Sox fan, but as Pope, I'm a fan of all the teams. So like I'm a fan of the Rome soccer team, but when the Naples team came after they had won the Scudetto, I obviously was encouraging them and congratulating them. So even at home, I mean, I grew up a White Sox fan, but my mother was a Cubs fan, so you couldn't be one of those fans that shut out the other side. It was like, we learned, even in sports, to have sort of an open, kind of a dialogical, friendly and not angry, competitive stance on things like that, because we might not have gotten dinner had we been.
That's very wholesome, although I'm glad we have it on the record that you like Roma for all the Laziali.
That's not Laziali, is it?
No, Romanisti di cuore.
I know, Romanisti.
That's what I thought.
You remember the banners hanging in our apartment.
Yeah.
Nel nome del Padre, del Figlio e dello Spirito Santo. Amen. Il Dio della speranza, che ci riempie di ogni gioia e pace nella fede, per la potenza dello Spirito Santo sia con tutti voi.